You ever feel like you're in a race, but every time you get close to the finish line, someone just moves it further away? Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like for a lot of us in the world of education and careers. We're all told, get a degree and you'll be set, but it seems like that goalpost is always on the move. So let's get into it and figure out what is really going on with the value of a college degree. This is the big question, isn't it? It's on everyone's mind, especially when you think about the insane costs and all that student debt. It's a real source of anxiety for, students, parents, pretty much everyone. Are we all pouring our time and money into something that just doesn't have the same punch it used to? And this right here, this sums it up perfectly. There's this feeling that what used to be a golden ticket to a great career is now just the basic price of admission. It's pushing people to go for more and more school just to keep their heads above water. So why is this happening? Is it just a feeling? Or is there something real going on? Well, it turns out there are some pretty solid economic theories that explain this whole thing. Let's break down this idea of credential inflation. Okay, so for a really long time, this was the go-to explanation. The logic was simple. You go to college, you learn useful stuff, you become a better, more productive worker, and so you get paid more. Makes sense, right? But what happens when everyone has those skills? That's when it starts to get a little more complicated. And that leads us straight to this idea, credentialism. This is where the degree stops being just about the skills you learned and starts acting more like a filter. Employers get flooded with applications, so they use the degree as a simple gatekeeper to shrink the pile. It's less about what you can do and more about the piece of paper you have. And this, right here, really gets to the heart of it. A bachelor's degree used to be a super clear signal to a company. It said, hey, I'm smart, I'm disciplined, I can finish what I start. But when suddenly everybody is sending that same signal, it just becomes background noise. And so employers have to start looking for a new, louder signal, like a master's degree. Now, you might think this is a new problem, but it's really not. To understand what's happening to the bachelor's degree today, we have to rewind a bit and look at the first domino that fell, the associate's degree. Check out this shift. It used to be that an associate's degree was a final destination, and a great one at that. It was your ticket to a solid middle-class job. But now, for many, it's just seen as a stepping stone, a 2-year stop on the way to getting a bachelor's. Its power as a standalone credential has really faded. And the data, well, it tells the exact same story. You can see it right here. An associate still pays better than just a high school diploma, for sure. But look at the growth. It's basically flat. Meanwhile, the earnings for bachelor's and master's degrees just keep climbing, making that gap wider and wider. Which brings us right back to today. Because the exact same thing that happened to the associate's degree, well, it's now happening to the bachelor's. This is the key, moving from a differentiator to a baseline. A bachelor's degree used to make you stand out from the crowd. Now, for so many professional jobs, it's just the bare minimum you need to not get your resume tossed in the trash by an automated system. It's the new normal. And here's the direct result of that. It's what economists call underemployment. Look at this chart. That is a huge slice of the pie. We're talking about more than a quarter of all college graduates working in jobs that don't even require a college degree. That's a classic sign that the market is just saturated with degrees. So it's really no surprise that public opinion is starting to shift. When you factor in the mountain of debt and the fact that a good job isn't guaranteed, a majority of people are now looking at the 4-year degree and saying, you know what, the math just isn't adding up anymore. So if the associate's degree was the first domino and the bachelor's was the second, you can probably see where this is headed, right? The big question now is the master's degree the next one in line to fall? Well, the motivation is definitely there. I mean, look at this number. On average, you're looking at a 20% pay bump with a master's over just a bachelor's. That's a serious financial incentive, and it's why we're seeing this massive rush to grad school. People are chasing that next clear advantage. And in a lot of fields, this isn't some future prediction, it's already happening. If you're in a competitive area, a master's is quickly becoming the new unspoken expectation. It's the new baseline if you want to be seriously considered for top roles. And all the warning signs are here. They look awfully familiar, don't they? Grad school enrollment is through the roof. Student debt for these programs is exploding. We're even hearing more and more stories about people with master's degrees being overqualified for their jobs. It's the same pattern, just repeating itself one level up. Okay, so I know this all sounds a little grim, like we're all stuck in this educational arms race, but it's not hopeless. The trick is to stop playing the old game and start thinking differently. So how do you actually compete and win in this new landscape? Here's the new playbook. First, get strategic about your degree. Choose one that connects directly to an actual in-demand job. Second, experience is king. Internships aren't optional anymore. Third, you've got to be fluent in tech, data, AI, whatever tools your field uses. Fourth, don't just tell them what you can do, show them. Build a portfolio. Fifth, your network is everything. Cultivate those connections. And finally, learning doesn't stop at graduation. Keep adding skills with certificates to stay relevant. So, what's the bottom line here? It's actually pretty simple. We have to shift our whole mindset away from just collecting credentials to actually demonstrating what we're capable of. The degree might get your foot in the door, but it's your skills and your experience that will get you the job and help you build a career. And that's really the question to leave you with. In a world where a degree is becoming the ticket just to get into the stadium, you have to ask yourself, what are you bringing to the game that actually makes you a valuable player? That's what you need to figure out, no matter where that finish line moves next.